Hello, and welcome to Medical Billers Network Live. How's everybody today? I hope you guys are all doing well and being safe out there. Us on the East Coast, we are all either having recovered from this storm that's blazing through here or blazing through your town, or you are preparing. We in the Carolinas are preparing for the storm that is coming. So today's going to be short and sweet. I have a few things that I got to get done before we are hunkered down tomorrow in our house. I want to know from you guys what's going on in your world. As you get here, tell us that you are here. Let me know where you're joining in from. And today, your question of the day is, what is your favorite holiday? Favorite holiday. I love it when I pick a question that I don't know if I have a good answer for. I'm going to be so corny and say that my favorite holiday is not really technically a holiday, but it's my holiday. It's my birthday. I'll say that. My birthday is my favorite personal holiday. And I will call that what I like to call my birthday is my new year. So I do treat it like a new year, like a new season. I try to hit the reset. I literally start a new planner at that time. I like to do my vision boarding and all the other practices that I do at the new year to kind of lay the groundwork for my new year on this plane. So when you get here, let me know what your favorite holiday is. Today, we are talking about steps to follow up on an insurance claim. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys about this because so many folks have asked questions about AR follow up. So I'm going to move into the very specific topic of calls when you're getting on the insurance phone calls. We're not going to go too far in detail today. Today, I'm going to talk a little further down the road of getting ready for those calls and what you are going to expect and all that stuff. So before I dive in, I just want to welcome you here. If you're new here, this is Medical Billers Network Live. We are live every Thursday, somewhere between 6 and 6:30 Eastern Time. And so if you are able to join live, we're live on YouTube and our Facebook groups. If you don't know what groups I'm talking about, you can find the links in any of our videos and check us out on those platforms as well. If you're here on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe and make sure you do the notification bell so that you know when we're live. They'll also send you an email, which is pretty fancy, and I appreciate YouTube for doing that. They'll send you an email to let you know that I'm live so you just don't miss it, because we will have a conversation live and here on this platform. I am back to Thursdays with you guys. I'm very excited to be here, and I want it to be a two-way conversation. So if you are new to medical billing and or you've been in medical billing and have lots to share with people who are new in medical billing, please come and share your information, share your knowledge. This is meant to be a community where we can come together and share our knowledge for the greater good of healthcare. So for the sake of our patients, right? So all that we do with this arm of my company and our billing company is for the sake of improving healthcare, the delivery of healthcare, by trying to eliminate all the messiness that happens on the business side of healthcare, because the insurance companies like to make it a little messy for us. So with that said, today we are talking about AR follow-up. When I say AR, I mean accounts receivable. So we're talking about insurance follow-up follow-up on insurance claims. So we typically affectionately call that AR follow-up. If you have another name that you call it, tell me what that is. I'm curious. I want to know, Like there hasn't been a lot of things, like there's a lot of changes in technology and other aspects of the world, but healthcare has been a slow moving train. So there's not a lot of new vernacular, we'll say. That's a fun word, by the way, vernacular. Um, there's not a lot of new words, we'll say, in healthcare per se, but I might be missing something. So let me know if I'm missing something that you guys are calling it these days. But we've been OG calling it AR follow-up or follow-up calls or AR calling or AR calls all means the same thing. We are following up on insurance claims to find out the status of those claims or to find out what needs to happen. I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm getting a pop-up about internet. I have no idea if that's impacting the connection. I hope not. If you guys get here and see that I've got a bad connection, please let me know so I can be sad about it. I'm just kidding. I have no idea what I would do about the bad connection, honestly. But wait until the connection gets better, I guess. I don't know. I am directly connected to Ethernet, so it might be just the powers that be, the internet gods, controlling the speed today. So I do know that there's been lots of notifications about the storm coming in, but I haven't seen anything about speed issues. So please let me know if you get here and the speed is a little strange. Yes, I'm getting fuzzy. Interesting. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. I don't know what else to do, but let me know if it gets choppy and you can't hear my words. I want to make sure that you guys can hear me loud and clear. Please let me know in the comments somewhere. Yay. Awesome. Hi, Shay. Good. It's good. I sound good. Audio's good. Thank you. Sweet. All right. Good deal. Well, if you guys can hear me, I'm going to move forward. We'll keep our conversation going. The pop-up went away, so hopefully that was just like a little glitch. And we'll, move this train. But if it gets messed up again, please let me know and we can maybe try to restart something. All right. So first thing that we're chatting about the steps to AR follow-up or follow-up calls. When we decide that we are going to start the process of follow-up. Shay, ask your questions along the way, by the way, so as they come up or, as you have questions about anything that I share. But as we know that you're going to start follow-up calls, the first thing you want to do is just have your stuff ready, right? So in the last live that we did together, we talked a little bit about what you really need to have to make those calls and kind of like when you should make a call and when you maybe should not make a call. So what I want to make sure of is that you are prepared for those calls. So the things that you might need to have are, if you have like a physical report that you're working from, have that ready. Better off with your software if you can have your software accessible where you can manipulate and look at charges. You're going to need to have a lot of resource information or reference information. I'm not going to run through those things again. You can watch last week's live for those points. I talked about the 5 W's in that video, but you want to have your 5 W's ready. So make sure you have all your information about your claim, and whether that's in your software where you're referencing it or something that is on a physical report. I would urge you, if you are accessing things remotely, or you might have like a strange connection, just do everything in your power to prevent yourself from not having access to the information while you are on the phone with the rep. I say that from the perspective of like, if you're logging into software remotely, for example, like you're working from home and logging into a software, if something freezes up and you've been sitting on hold for an hour, nothing is more frustrating than to get to on the phone and be like, oh no, my system crashed or it's frozen or it's whatever. So make sure you have it where you can reference it, whether or not it's the system is live. If it's a system that you have access to right there on your local computer, or perhaps you are accessing a report or something, you shouldn't have any problem with this. So have that information available. You might want to have a clearinghouse available, which is the processing tool that you're going to use for your claims. That might be built into your software. And I'll talk a little bit more in detail about that and how to use your clearinghouse. But for the sake of looking at what actually happened to the claim en route to the carrier, and maybe even referencing either a view of the claim data if it's not something that you can see. So like if it's part of the actual, if it's possible for you to view a viewable kind of PDF version of a claim in your clearinghouse, that would help you. So you see what data transmitted to the insurance company. So that's really important to be able to kind of take a glance at what they got, right? So you are clear about it, because sometimes what we see on the accounting side of a software is different than what we see in a clearinghouse side. So what you might have transmitted on your 837 claim file might be different than what was actually entered in or what appears on your accounting screen in your software. You're also going to want to make sure that you have any portals open from that carrier that might be providing helpful information. And I say things like, if you are calling about a previously processed claim and you need to have your ICN number, does anyone that's listening know what an ICN number is, or an ICN, I'll say? Does anyone know what an ICN is? I'm going to leave that out there before I explain what it is. So have your ICN. If you need to reference your ICN, you're going to want to have that insurance portal software open. So no, all right. So ICN number is an internal claim number. That internal claim number is some people call it an insurance claim number. It's an internal claim number, but the insurance claim number, or the internal claim number from that insurance company, is the number that's been assigned to that particular claim when they received it. So yes, Shay, awesome. You got it. Yep. So claim number. So that's the number when they processed your claim that they would have assigned to the claim. And so let me turn this banner off. It's driving me crazy. It's a little distracting from my eyes. So you're going to want to have that handy if you're calling about a previously processed claim. So it's going to be a long number, so make sure that you have the ability to either copy that or write it down. The portals time out typically, meaning they might close out on you while you're on the call. So make sure you have that somewhere else. I think that it's better for you to consolidate things and maybe even start a note into your software that says called insurance to follow up on ICN number, whatever, and paste the number there. So you're already starting on your note, and you can reference that claim number for the rep that is going to get on the phone. So step 2, so you have all your stuff open. That's your step 1. So you've got your software, your clearinghouse, your portal, your report, whatever you need to be able to start to do your research with someone on the phone. Keeping in mind that you're getting on the phone, you need to understand why. So step 2 is know why you're getting on the phone. I'm getting a pop-up again, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. We're going to blame it on the storm that's on its way here, but I have no idea why I'm getting weird, bad connection. It's like after hours and the building is pretty much empty here, so it shouldn't be happening. Sorry about that. But basically what I was going to say is that number 2, know why you're calling. So before you sit down to make a follow-up call, know the reasons why you're calling. And here are some of the reasons why you might call. I'm going to go through these today. This will be the focus of what we're going to chat about today, so that you can really start to wrap your head around the reasons for an insurance call and why it's something that you wouldn't always need to do. Okay. So first thing is, if an insurance claim was billed and you have not gotten an EOB or any sort of correspondence or an update back from, whether it's a claim rejection or anything back. So claim billed, accepted by insurance, no response. Okay. Claim billed, accepted by insurance, no response. That is a very basic claim request. If you are calling for that claim request, I should only see that happening in really 1 or 2 instances. So one instance would be, this particular insurance company is small, that it does not have a portal at all. So no insurance portal at all, or your portal is down. Insurance portal is down. So you can't get on because it's down. That's the only 2 reasons why you should be calling for status. If you're calling for anything other than those 2 reasons, for a billed claim with no response, if you're doing that first, you're wasting your time. You need to log into your claim portal, your payer portal, which is going to be the payer website, right? To research the status of the claim first, and see what the status of your insurance claim is online, because it's going to save you time. It's a matter of punching a few keys versus going through a lot of complicated interactive voice response systems to maybe get to a deadline or to get to a rep, and hold for a rep, all of that, for you to just find out that the claim was paid on X date or whatever, right? When you can pull all of that information up on a website. So super important that you start with know first why you're calling. And if you are calling for a billed claim without any response, then only call for that type of claim if you don't have a portal access for whatever reason, or there is no access because it's down. It's just not working. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why you might be calling. The other reason why you might be calling is because you got a denial from the insurance company or a claim rejection that you don't understand. It's like claim is denied. You have no idea why it's denied, and you're looking at this denial reason and it's somewhat confusing. You might assume this or that, but you need clarification. So that is reason number 2 that you might be calling. An example of that is like a CO 226. That is a contractual obligation 226. We'll talk a little bit about what I'm throwing out there, but that is an ANSI code for a claim denial. And that basically is saying that the billing provider or rendering provider is providing information that is insufficient. That is the definition they give. So it says billing or rendering provider is giving information that is insufficient or incomplete, which is such a broad statement. And it means nothing to you unless you get them to expand on that, because it could literally mean anything on the claim, or perhaps anything that was attached or not attached to the claim. It could also mean, in some instances, an authorization that wasn't on file, that they are using the wrong code, or the system just uses this code to clarify or to communicate there's no authorization. So this code, CO226, is an example of a code that is utilized in a denial, on a denial that is very vague and it is not specific enough. So if you are not sure what that is, you might be calling for that. There are instances that you might learn that this insurance company uses this denial code, but they really mean this when they send it. When you learn those kinds of trends, write them down on a referenceable document for yourself so you know X insurance company uses X code, but they really mean this. So you don't have to call every time, right? So start to learn those types of trends. Really important. So number 3 reason why you might be calling is claim got processed and it's either overpaid or underpaid, and you're not sure what the heck they did with the claim. Now, I say that you might be calling for that reason because actually a lot of portals have the ability to submit a request about an overpayment or an underpayment. So again, back to my don't waste your time calling the insurance when you don't have to, when you can send a request on a portal. Because if you listen to last week's live, you heard me share that when you talk to an insurance representative, you are talking to a representative of the insurance. It's just a customer service person who is reading updates from a computer. Okay. They are not themselves the adjuster, and they typically do not have any specialized knowledge except what was trained or what is available to them in their reference material, right? So they get taught just like any customer service rep, whether at a credit card company or a store or whatever, they get taught, here are the potential types of calls that might come in, and here are the things that you could help them with, and here's the screens that you read from, those types of things, right? They're learning situational solutions, right? So they really are not very specialized in helping you navigate the problems with your claim. So if you can send a request through a portal, that's going to get directly to a claims adjuster or to a software potentially that's going to review your request and apply some logic to the review, versus you talking to a representative that's just typing your request for you, is really what's happening. So we talked about that last week at length, but just know overpayment and underpayment might be a reason for your call, but I don't necessarily think that you have to call unless your portal doesn't have the ability. So you guys will learn that I am not completely against calling, but I'm pretty far against calling. I like to split up AR into like 2 levels. Level 1 is like everything that you can do before you pick up the phone. And I'd say about 85% of what we do on this side of billing can happen without you picking up the phone. About 15% is going to be done with a phone call. Okay, so you'll hear this from me a lot. I'm going to constantly be drilling this into you guys so that we are all on the same page of how we can optimize. And you guys who are billers, I want to hear from you. Tell me what you've got going on. If there's anything on your mind about what I'm saying today. All right, so scenario number 4 is you are needing to get clarification on something related to appeals. So whether or not you need to have clarification on how to submit an appeal properly, what's needed to appeal something, or you're looking for status of your appeal. So those really things related to things you either are going to appeal or have already appealed. So if you've already submitted an appeal and you need the status, or you need to know how to submit the appeal, I will urge you to also check the payer websites for those rules and steps for appeals. Typically, they have them outlined very clearly. But if you are not able to source that, or you don't see that they have that information available to you, then certainly pick up the phone and just get clarification on whether or not you have the ability to submit an appeal in a more efficient way, right? And do they need documents? There are some carriers that you absolutely have to send this particular form attachment to your appeal. Otherwise, they don't process that sucker. So you're going to get your letter. You're going to spend all that time making the perfect appeal letter and attach all your documents and all this stuff and pay $20 to mail. I'm just joking, but pay a bunch of money to mail an appeal or whatever because it's expensive to mail. And then the insurance company is going to kick it out and say, no, thank you, because you need to send this form first. So keep that in mind. If you guys are seeing, I forgot my train of thought. It just went poof out of my brain completely. What I was going to say was that if you find that the appeals process needs to take place with some attachments, you might be able to clarify that with a rep. That's kind of where I was going, but the exact words disappeared from my brain. All right, so you've got all your steps. Those are the four things related to know why you're calling. So that was all kind of related to your step 2. So that's like a little sub-step. So know why you're calling had the different points related to build, whether or not you are calling about a claim that was billed with no response, or you got a confusing denial, or you finding out about an overpayment or underpayment, or looking about appeals, okay? The next thing that you're going to want to do before you are actually getting on the horn with someone is double check, what was the denial? You guys are hearing me say this, I'm going to constantly be saying it, follow the breadcrumbs, trace it back, look and see, okay, what was the denial? When was the last determination for this claim? Maybe you resubmitted it as a corrected claim or whatever. What is the last processing? So you're not looking at the original one, find out the last one. Here's a really important thing, billers. If you have multiple people working in your department, look at the notes. Even if you are the last person who touched this claim, maybe you gave some really great information about the status of the claim already that you can read before you get on the phone, okay? Read the notes. Nothing drives me crazier than when I'm going to an account and I see someone called on a claim and I look at the note and they called on the same claim and it's exactly the same status update. Why would you do that to yourselves? Just read the documentation. Someone's taking their time, or you took your time to document and then you do the same thing again. It's what's the definition of insanity, guys? So let's make sure that you don't bypass the notes and actually read the documentation. All right. The very last step here for our follow-up process today, getting started for this follow-up process, getting started on your AR calling, is be ready. Don't be distracted. Be ready to listen and to document properly. I love that you all are multitaskers and able to do a bunch of things, but my friends who are working in a practice while doing billing, you cannot have 10 patients in your waiting room and you're directing patients and checking someone out, and you've got an insurance company on the line while you're trying to pay attention to what's happening on that call. It's a waste of time. It might make you look really busy, but it's a waste of time and it's a waste of energy. So do these calls when you have the focus, time, and attention to give to them, okay? Don't be trying to do 20 things at once, all right? Just do one thing at a time with AR calls. Focus on the AR, the actual. Now I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say focus on the calls and only do the call. Listen, when you're on hold, you better be doing something else. There's not you're just sitting on hold. But I mean, when you are actually talking to the representative and you get on the phone with them, be ready to just talk to them have the conversation, listen to what they're saying so you can ask the right questions. Don't waste their time or your time. And then document what you hear so that you know what needs to take place. All right. So keep that in mind as you're moving through the next steps, because it's going to be a huge waste of everyone's time and energy if you're sitting there having this halfway conversation and that you need to call back again, especially if you've been waiting on hold. And most of us with insurance companies these days are waiting on hold at least 20 minutes. If you're getting less, I'm envious. We have at least 20 minutes hold time. So, and then I'm going to add one last little step that I realized I did not put in my notes, which is related to call on multiple claims at once. Most insurance companies have a limit of how many they're going to allow you to go over, but I would suggest that you have at least 4 to maybe 5 claims that you're looking to research with that same company, right? So if you're calling Aetna, I think they allow 4. If my billers are in the space, y'all can correct me, but I believe it's still 4 claims that they allow you to go over. It can be from the same patient or it can be from multiple patients. Some insurance companies have tighter rules around that. So if you are calling an insurance company and you have a big old AR report that you're working on, or a long list of patients that are outstanding for that insurance, have at least 4 or 5 before you pick up the phone. And before our 5 that don't fall into all of the other categories that I talked about, right? So if it's something that you can check on the portal, all of the other status types that you can do in the portal, do not just waste your time or the representative's time getting on the phone by, just calling and not checking on the portal or even checking on the IVR, because the IVR is available as well. IVR, let me just define this again, is the interactive voice response system. That is the computer that you're talking to when you first call the insurance company. We'll talk a little bit more about that in detail during next week's live. And today we are going to wrap this party up. I want to know whether you found that helpful. If you are new in this space of medical billing, you guys, I say this every time and I continue to stress, if you are billing, you guys are like, you're the gems. You are the magic makers. You have the keys to the kingdom. Most people don't understand what you are doing. And so let's help the people that are new, because most of us learn this just by doing it. And after years and years of doing it, like, can we make it a little easier for the next generation of billers? And it's not for only their sakes. It's more for the long game effects, right? It's for the sake of the patients, for the sake of the providers, for the mental sanity of all the people in healthcare. Like, I don't know that many people in healthcare that have like their sanity, like that don't feel like they get to the point when they're like exhausted or drained or burnt out. So let's change that. Even on the billing side, like, people leave billing at some point typically because they get burnt out because of all the complexity. And some of this is because like they've gone through all the pain and the anguish of learning this stuff that we hold so dear, that we have the answers to. So share our knowledge. Let's make it better. Let's make it better together. You are new here. We're here every Thursday, again, between 6 and 6:30. And yeah, you guys, I'm really excited about keeping up with this conversation and on live. So yay. Thank you. Yes, newbies need the help. Thank you, Jenny, for your comment. Newbies need the help, and insurance companies don't tell you anything. It's true. I don't care how much training you get. I'm going to be totally frank. You guys, of those of us who are certified, know this. We learn a lot about the general concept of insurance and insurance world. We don't learn enough about the nitty-gritty and how to get it done. So this is the stuff that we learn on the job, most of us. So Lena, thank you so much for your feedback. Your videos helped me so much with the new job I got. I've never worked in medical billing before. You're so welcome. I'm so happy they help you. I am excited, you guys, that I've been making more time to do these things. Well, I'm not going to just say making more time. It's also the gift of my team. That's amazing. That's been giving me more time. And I've been using that time to give to this community. And so I'm excited to be back at a normal pace. If you are not already in the Facebook group, and you're a part of the medical billing community, you have to be a part of the community, either interested in getting into medical billing or already in medical billing. It's meant to be a community of billers, or aspiring billers. So if you are not already in that Facebook group, then definitely check out the links in the video so you can join it. You have to fill out the questions. You've got to fill out all the questions. If you don't, I have to reject you, because it's really important to me that everyone acknowledges the rules. I want to keep it very, very respectful. If you are in other groups, you will learn that some of them are not very nice, and I'm just not that person. If you've been here long enough, you know that, I'm a pretty nice person, I think, and I don't like people who are not nice. So we will not invite them into our group if we find that they don't want to follow those rules to be kind to others. So, all right, my friends, listen, have a great rest of this week. And everyone who's in the path of the storm, stay safe. Stay with your family, your loved ones, and just enjoy hopefully some quiet time. Make sure you get your phones charged up and all the water and things that you might need. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. We will see you next week. Bye.